Hey Joe, thanks for getting this in, and I'm sorry I'm not giving you feedback until now, but I logged off Saturday afternoon and took Sunday off, which I am allowed to do, so this is just when I'm getting back to you. Anyways, so what you did was you do have two distinct types of lighting. You have one where you are facing diffused lights directly toward her, meaning that you have your lights shooting through an umbrella. And then you said that the other shot, which you should have given me an equipment shot for, every time you change your lighting you need to take a snapshot of your equipment setup and give us that so that we can give you feedback. But from your response to, it looks like Josh here, or maybe, no, in your write-up you said that you flipped the lights around so that you had the lights were shooting into the umbrella but away from her, so she was just getting reflected light. So you described that as reflected light, and then this as diffused light. So that's okay, but make sure you always give us those equipment shots so we can see for ourselves the distinct difference in your setups. It's very important. Okay, and then I am familiar with this meter here, and yes, it does do incident meter readings. However, you need to face it, I think you need to face it back toward the camera, so you need to put it right up against your subject, in the area of your subject that you want to meter, and then face it directly back toward the camera. You might have gotten the same meter readings because of either where you're standing, you might have been blocking crucial light, or because you don't have the meter facing back toward the camera. I could be wrong. Please, get in here and tell me if I'm totally wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure this model has to face back toward the camera as well, because the light cells are, I think, on the face of the meter, so it should be facing back toward the camera. So in this case, I think that, you're metering you're metering incident light like kind of over here, like kind of like light that's coming from above and getting down onto your meter, instead of the light that your camera is actually seeing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So that might be why you're getting the same meter reading for two very different sets of light. And also your white balance is considerably different. I'm sure you observed this. Or no, maybe you didn't actually, now that I think about your letter. You didn't observe that you have a white balance difference in here. Because I'm not sure if I can say that here. But anyways, that's interesting. So yeah, you do have a white balance difference. I wonder, how do you correct white balance? Just curious. Just let me know. I'm really curious. I hadn't thought about that before. And yeah, so here we have very soft diffused shadows, because this is all reflective lighting. So all the light is effectively getting bounced off of the white walls and ceiling and whatever kind of floor there is, and then coming back to her at just countless angles. And then here we have slightly darker shadows because the light is coming toward her slightly more directly. It's still diffused through these lamps. But the light source is not infinite. Like the light source is infinite when you're bouncing light off of white walls and white ceilings. The size of the light is essentially the whole room. It has different strengths depending on how far away the bounce is from your subject. However, in this case, when you're shooting straight through the lights, the size of the light is finite. We know exactly how big it is. So it will cast some shadows. Right? Okay. So good. Not too shabby for your first try with your lights, and thank you for your neighbor to sit with you so patiently. And so in this week's assignments, what I really want you to think about is trying to set up like drama and mood. And so change the use both lights if you want to, but like change the intensity, so one will be really close and one will be far away, or like one will be far away and diffused and the other will be close and hard, or like just use one light and then a reflector or a bounce, or use flags or something, so add more to the mix. Like, good job using both your lights once, now start adding more to the mix. Okay, thanks Joe.